So here we go, a whole new world of city building. So get yourself comfortable, grab a cup of tea as we're going to be diving into what is hopefully going to be a very British city. We will of course be going for the Archipelago Haven, a word I can barely even say because who doesn't like a few islands? Oh, you can even have left-hand traffic. This is getting better already. Since I don't really want my city to be a too happy a place, I thought we'd name it Scunthorpe. Now, I normally play medieval games. Modern city building, it's not exactly my strong suit, so this could be a little bit interesting. We have had a little play around before we started this, tried to get the hang of it a bit, but let's see what we can do. But you're really going to have to help me down in the comments. So we start basically on this little island here. There's a lot of islands to expand onto, and you can see kind of our build area. Pretty similar to City Skylines 1. We have this, frankly, quite nice intersection, whatever you would call it. We certainly wouldn't have anything quite this neatly built in the UK. But my plan was to essentially turn this 2-lane road into a sort of square. Now, it doesn't seem very British, if I'm honest. Unless you're maybe living on a new Barratt's housing estate or something like that. You know, we have very windy roads. However, this does seem kind of the logical thing to do, so I was just going to throw it literally at a right angle. Up diddly up, down diddly down. Now obviously it would be absolutely criminal to destroy the roundabout, so we certainly will be keeping that. And we get our rough little grid layout, which is not really very square at all, with a random roundabout in the corner. Love it. Now let's just grid the hell out of it. Okay, so we have some sort of kind of vague little layout going on here, although we definitely need to change some of these names. Although, Sheffield, you can stay. Okay, that's better. We're even encircled by the M25. Love it. So really, the main demand is currently just for this low density residential, so really we're just going to spam this stuff in. We'll stick in a little bit of a commercial district as well. There's not really much demand for it at the moment, but that'll give it something. And then we're going to have to deal with our industrial area, power, water, and all that sort of stuff. People don't seem to like, kind of understandably, living right next door to the industrial area, so I'm going to stick this kind of up here in the northern end of the island, and then maybe in time we'll kind of expand it over to this side as well, so that the industrial basically has got seafront access, and I don't know, maybe we can do something with ports and great dreams of futures and things like that. Environmental concerns are, well, not really a concern, so we're going to build ourselves a coal power station. When it comes to water, my plan is just to do 2 pumping stations. One to suck the water out, and one to basically dump the sewage back in. Now, looking at the water flow on this map, it looks like the water actually flows into this bay area here. So we'll probably discharge our sewage on this side, because hopefully it should just self-contain, because as it gets pumped out, the water flow should just push it back up against the shoreline. Bad place to go on a beach holiday, good place to dump loads of waste sewage. But for the water, we'll then extract it up on the other side. A road to our water plant. Looking good. So that should give us all of our basic amenities. So let's get this unpaused. Hopefully we should start producing power. The power grid doesn't actually need to connect up to the interconnector, although actually since we're producing probably quite a lot of excess power, it might not be a bad idea to do so. Nice, our residents are moving in. Oh, and we're selling electricity, even better. Well, it certainly seems like there's a lot of demand to move into our little city. Everything is currently under construction. Well, we've got our first traffic, all the new people moving in, and we're starting to get some of our shops built up. We've got a short market. Wow. So we've already outstripped the amount of the demand for the amount of land that we built already. So I guess it's time to zone up this other side and start to build some more houses. So with all that built out, let's put down some more low density residential housing and get to building a few more homes. So the way technology basically works in City Skylines 2 is through experience points. As you get more people become happier, you build certain buildings, landmark buildings, etc, etc. You can basically upgrade your cities. You can go from like a founding city, and our first milestone is to try and become a tiny village. And that's going to give us access to different densities of housing, different roads, healthcare, etc. and unlocks more things that you can then build and develop your city with. But to be honest, the demand for the amount of people who want to move in is actually just really continuing to grow. So we are basically out of room in our little block already. And my kind of rough plan is just to expand the M25 in another square, like down, across and back up. So we just have these blocks, and so people should hopefully be able to come in and out easily, sort of off the motorway to get into the town. Hey, there we go, we have become a tiny village. Well, you get a lot of money for it, don't you? So, with becoming a tiny village, we now get some development points as well, which we can spend on various things. Now, obviously, this is a British city, so the first thing that a British city needs is an absolute boatload of roundabouts. And so, for no particularly justifiable reason at all, in this bottom corner we are going to place a very large roundabout. I just love it. Although, to be fair, I think this is not even that large. By British standards, I would say this is a mediocre roundabout. We can do better than that, surely. But I suppose before we get too carried away with roundabouts, we probably should build some sort of healthcare into this city. And we're also going to need somewhere to bury all the dead people. So we're going to have to build a crematorium around here somewhere. That is a really large graveyard. I love the detail on some of this stuff. Look how many little individual gravestones there are. That's so cool. We're also going to have to build ourselves a little landfill plant, so we need to find somewhere probably in the industrial sector for this to go. Although this seems like a good opportunity for the first use of our land buying, just to buy that extra little tip of land there, just so we can get access to that top bit. Now, admittedly, the landfill is half in the sea, but hopefully it's not going to cause a pollution problem. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? And finally, we unlocked a pop star's mansion, so we can find somewhere for this to go as well. Since my opinions on the music industry aren't all that strong, let's place it opposite the graveyard. And then I think we'll just get back to our rampant road building campaign. So we can actually get down a couple of rows of medium density housing. So this is like small apartment blocks, that sort of thing. It actually houses quite a lot more people sort of for the amount of area it takes up. But the rest of it, all low density housing. Oh, we're actually getting some apartment blocks going up. 254 T Street is on the way. We're now over 150 people already. I'm actually really pleased with how this is developing. It's a little bit square to be a very nice British city. It's a little bit too organised and there's definitely not enough roundabouts. But still, all in all, I would say things are going pretty well for me. I love the name of some of these industrial buildings. Full of foods, smelting more. But cool as the names are, we better build more industrial capacity. The need is there. So let's expand our road network out. We might even be able to sort of hide under this bridge here and then kind of expand out into this little peninsula maybe. Well, we would if Stonehenge wasn't in the way. Can you just, like, yoink? Let's just temporarily relocate you over there. There's not any archaeological vandalism going on here. And that gives us a lot more capacity now, just ram it full of lots of industrial. And that should hopefully keep us going for a while before we actually have to expand again. Cool to see some of our first apartment buildings are actually now starting to come online. So they're actually holding 6 households in each building, which is nice, and good to see the wealth is pretty good as well. And actually our happiness is on the rise, so we're looking good. Hopefully we should soon hit a next progression milestone as well. Well, it looks like the apartment buildings are proving to be an absolute smash hit. Had loads of them being built. Oh, quite nice gardens as well, although there's always someone, some arsehole who has to build it the wrong way round. Why? I hate you. 194 Sheffield Street. There we go. Small village. We've got another 700,000, whatever the currency is. Pounds, I suppose, if we're in Britain. And a few more progression things. Plus, probably access to some extra things, such as education. Nice. So we need to build an elementary school and a high school. So let's have a look, what sort of space have we got available here. I suppose we could follow a similar procedure to like what we did with our medical clinic and just build it along this outside road here. I suppose the risk is that as we continue to expand in different directions, it's not very central, but I think we'll just go for it. Okay, that's our 2 educational facilities built. And we've got 2 more development points. I can see that a crematorium is probably going to be quite useful, so let's unlock that. One thing I'm really going to want to get to though at some point is intersections. Being able to build these like pre-built, like this sort of style of intersection is super useful in my opinion. Particularly if we ever want to get over to this second island, because people are going to need a way of getting off these sort of motorways. And I just find it really clunky to try and do it manually. So I find intersections super helpful in this sort of thing. So that might be something that we think about heading towards. So I might just save that extra point for now and let's see if we think about doing that. In the meantime, we can always build ourselves our crematorium we just unlocked. So I'm going to think about trying to expand just down to this little bit of peninsula down here. My slightly arbitrary road networking. But I think it makes sense to try and sort of drag some of these things down, because I don't like the too squarey nature of it, you know. And people might want houses by the seaside on a bit of a cliff top, so that's what we're going to try and do. Well, I've accidentally created a slightly dangerous road situation. So you're merrily driving along, and then it's basically just an angle down through a tunnel, and it tips you with no road barriers at all straight into the sea. You may, if you're lucky, you may get saved by the lamppost right at the end. That is one of the most pointless and dangerous roads, but I absolutely love it. I'm all for it. Oh, we seem to be gaining demand pretty much in all sectors. We need to look potentially about a bit of a commercial shortage seems to be going on. Do a bit of spare space there and there. Throw a few up for a few shop blocks there. The rest of the stuff we're pretty out of room unless we start going into the new sector. I guess we can throw in one in down there. But other than that, it looks like we're starting to edge up on commercial again because our commercial district is actually getting pretty full, if I'm honest. How did that... Wait, that was not intended. Why has that joined the highway? Okay, so you just, just pull up to the motorway and turn left. And there we go, a large village. What does that give us access to? Oh, we're going to get some of the farming services and some of the other zoning stuff we can do. Let's have a little bit of a look at that. We also get some more development points. Still not quite enough for intersections, although we could get access to things like highways and large roads. And some of the advanced road services are quite nice because you can put things like stop signs in and traffic lights in specific areas. I think this is the route we're going to go. So, let's go for our highways. And then next time, hopefully we get enough points, essentially 5 development points, and then we can do large roads and intersections together, which would be really cool to be able to do. So it does look like we're going to have to also be doing fire and police services now. Okay, how big is this fire station? Not actually that big. And there's the police station as well. One thing I kind of like about this game is you can do upgrades. So for the sort of essentially a cheaper cost, you can almost double the amount of cars. You can do a garage extension. Some of them fit on the same plot, which they do in this area, and sometimes it takes a bit longer. But now there's actually 12 patrol cars, which I'm kind of a fan of because it means that the upkeep is not exponentially expensive, and you get a lot more sort of service coverage out of your police stations. And look, people are happy. People like our city. Well, the first cliff-top homes are being built. This is slightly dangerous. You wouldn't want to be... if you lose your football at the back garden there, you are not getting that back. Since one of the complaints we've actually had from a lot of the residents is the noise, considering the fact there's like a motorway running right through the centre of the city, I'm thinking about trying to put in some sound barriering like this. Do it right to the edge. And then if we do it now on the other side... I mean, it doesn't cover absolutely everything, but look, that gives us a pretty nice little sound barrier right down the sort of centre of the highway. I mean, hopefully it'll make life a little bit better for some of these people living kind of on the edge of it. I guess they're not so happy about being right next to a motorway. Oh look, you can see how our sewage is working. This is actually working according to plan. So it's being ejected out here, but because the tidal flow is sort of coming into the bay, it's just containing it all in this little pocket here. That was the plan. As I say, bad place to go on a beach holiday, good place to dump loads of sewage. So the first of our high-rise apartment blocks is now really coming online. And we can hold like 54 households into these. We've got 14 dogs in there as well. This is becoming a lot more space efficient. You can fit a lot of people in quite a small amount of space. Does mean we're starting to build up traffic though, potentially quite a lot. And everyone's piling onto the M25. We're starting to replicate what happens to real life in the London Ring Road. This is going to be a little bit more of a risk. So some things we can start to do is look at some of our livestock farming. We can't actually yet see, annoyingly, the production tab. We need to get to Grand Village, but essentially we have certain materials in and certain materials out. One of those is livestock, essentially. So if we can sneak in a little chicken farm here, we can drag its available land basically just up to the shoreline, like so. And then we'll get a kind of a cool little chicken farm right on the outskirts. Just occupying the little peninsula. There's no dodgy chicken, no contamination at all. I don't know what the health inspector's talking about. Oh no, Morello's cookie dough doesn't have enough customers. People obviously not enjoying it all that much. We are starting to run out of industrial space a little bit here. I don't really want to come any closer over this way because we're going to be getting the industry too close to the city. We've got a little bit of last room over here. Really need to be getting onto those intersections so we can start expanding onto the other side of the river. When people say the city might be a bit noisy, I can kind of understand for these residents why they may have one or two complaints. That's not such a great place to live. The balcony is like overhanging the main M25 going around the city with all the cars going past. So, yeah, okay. I have some sympathy for these guys. So, we've just broke 1,500 people. So, how is our city actually looking? I think genuinely doesn't look too bad. I'm really a big fan of the cliff-top settlements. I just love these perched little houses. Look at that. Would you park your car there? It seems a tad dangerous if you ask me. But other than that, I'm quite pleased. We've got quite a few people in a reasonably neatly organised city. Reasonably-ish. We've got our separate industrial area. We'll soon, hopefully, when we get to a large village or the next stage, we're going to start to expand our industry onto the other island. I wonder if we can build something right on this little tip of land down here as well. That would be kind of cool. So I'd say things are going pretty well. So fun as the beach building is, I think we probably need to think about the next expansion of our grid network. And the obvious place is just to sort of come across and build another box down here and just expand over that way. We probably are going to have to think about building a few extra hospitals and a few other little bits and pieces, because otherwise this is going to be a struggle. But let's do what we can. So we're getting some of our gridding laid out. Let's just get an extra hospital put in straight from the start, because that should provide at least healthcare down this side of the city. I don't know what our fire service and stuff response is like. Still not too bad, really. And people are generally happy with the amount of police cars, even if they are slightly focused on one end of the city. So, no reason to not build some houses. Oh, we're so close now to getting to Grand Village. Come on, we just need a few more people, a little bit more population, or we should build something to get ourselves there. Hey, there we go, Grand Village unlocked. Nice. And that is going to give us things like transportation networks, so we can now do bus routes, we've got parks, and a whole myriad of other things we've now just unlocked. But I think that shall all have to wait for next time, when we're going to expand to the other side of the river, set up all our bus routes, etc, etc. So, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. Let me know, and certainly give me some tips in the comments down below, and I shall see you guys all on the next one.